I know, right?
All right, well, welcome everyone. It is Friday, or no, Friday.
It's Friday and summer, we're not so.
It's Tuesday, May 30th. It's Tuesday, May 30th. It's 2:33. And this is our college council meeting. Oh my goodness, what a day.
Love it.
So as you all know, we are excited because graduation just happened on Thursday. So I'm ready for Friday. Let's just say that. So it is Friday in my mind. So we'll start with, so we're at College Council, which is the highest level of governance for our college and shared governance. And so we will start with our roll call. And so I am Marcelo Perez, Vice President of Student Services, and I'm filling in for Ricky, our college president. So Mona, past president, Academic Senate. Okay, so not here. Tilly Chavez, Vice President of Instruction.
President,
Robbie Ewell, Chair of Instructional Technology Council.
he's on vacation.
All right. Susie Lamakos, Information Officer. Present. Jay Purnell, Supervisory Representative. Sanaa Fadness, President, Chairs Cabinet.
Present.
Susan Murray, Dean of Institutional Effectiveness and Chair of MPROC.
Present.
Masa Omai, Administrative Representative.
Present.
Diego Bethay, President, Associated Students Government.
Present.
John Parker, Vice President, Administrative Services.
And you go ahead and subbing for John Parker.
All right, so Reggie is here for John. Our Marcelo is already here. Sean Ryan, President, Classified Senate.
Present.
And Maria Jose Celedon Perez,
Present.
President of Academic Senate. It rolls off my tongue a little bit easier than.
I know.
than Ricky's. Last name.
Gracias, Marcela. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is what happens when Ricky doesn't come to these meetings. I deny all accountability. So the first thing on our, so it looks like we do have forum. So the first thing on our agenda is approval of the May 16, 2023 meeting minutes. Those meeting minutes were sent to everybody. They're also in the packets in front of you. So I'll give you a second to review. And then I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for May 16.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to
Maria
approve
Jose.
from Maria Jose,
This is Sean Rand, I second.
and we have a second from Sean. Are there any objections or concerns? Yes.
I know it's my first meeting, but usually minutes, should they say minutes at the top? Even on the second, and also it says agenda on page 2, so it should be no.
Yeah.
Of course, in between whether it's an agenda.
So we will make the correction for it to say minutes at the top with those corrections. Any other corrections?
The agenda,
What was the second one?
on page 2 it says agenda. So
Right. Better than minutes.
Is that minutes? Yeah. We will get that correct. He is the minute master. Any other corrections? Hearing none, so the minutes have been corrected. So is there a motion to adopt the minutes with the corrections?
Sanaa Fadness, so.
Okay, so Sanaa has a motion to accept the minutes with the, approve the minutes with the corrections. The second,
Jay Purnell, second.
Jay Purnell is seconding them. Any objections? Yes, then the motion moves or is approved and the minutes are approved with those corrections. The next thing on our agenda is the draft of the governance handbook, and it's an action item.
There's two copies on the table. I was trying to be friendly with the paper and stuff like that, but I'll share the draft here.
And I think it was emailed to all of us as well.
Yes.
Are there any questions about the governance handbook?
Yeah, I submitted some change in language to Caesar.
She has,
Yeah. I didn't see it in the draft table.
yeah, can I see the copy right there? Here's the.
There's one right.
Oh. Better with it.
Yeah, we're still working on some of the, those edits.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
for the most part, it's
Okay.
The content only, not printed.
correct. Yeah, because it's a new cover, we have a new cover.
Oh, yeah, I see the new
Yeah.
cover. You sent me the new one for the other
Content.
content. Okay,
Not printed.
it's really nice to.
So if I'm not mistaken, I believe that these now have gone to they've made their way through shared governance. So academic senate, classified senate, SPON, we've had a chance to review. And Caesar, you're collecting the feedback.
Yeah, we need to make sure. I don't know.
I had a question from last time. And Susan, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was that piece that we didn't all pick up on the strategic portion on the charge.
Oh, right.
So was that needed to be added to everybody's?
Yeah, we were hoping to do that, to have the alignment with the strategic priorities as one of the things that each of the major councils captured in their charge.
I'm just gonna say right now, Stephen Journey, we haven't got to that part. I think they're getting it this week, right?
Correct.
We can easily-
We haven't done it, so that'll be added, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, my understanding is that all of us council will make sure that we have all the content and they all are gonna have the exact same content, just, geared towards,
Yeah, unfortunately, we were working off of a different version like that.
yeah. But it looks really good. I mean, these are really important. We're it feels like then we're aligning all the work that is going across campus with, how all we're tied together through the accreditation standards, faculty that was one. So I appreciate that, whoever came up with that. Thank you. Susan, thank you, Susan.
Well, it came out of city planning and then prior to that, out of the work group.
Thank you.
So big thanks to.
And of course, and then advancing equity and anti-racism is in all of them as well.
Mhm.
So we're very intentional.
Yeah, and the link to accreditation, so that.
Beautiful.
So even though it's a handbook that is still in revision, we can still sign off on it, right, and say we're moving forward, even though there might be some more revisions for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we know what those revisions are.
Yeah.
And those specific gaps that we're gonna come back and fill in.
So any other discussion about that action item?
Point of clarification.
Yes.
Is this first read or second read?
I believe this is the second
Second,
item,
it's fine. Okay.
so we'll take a vote today.
But that's a point of clarification. I love that, Masa. Thank you. But that's a good comment in terms of are we voting on the format? Meaning, yes, we want all this content to be added to all the council to look like that? Or are we voting on format and content, even though the content, do we have to vote on the content or not in terms of what each council charge is and how they align their efforts? Because that's not completed. What's completed is the format, so that's an interesting take too. Are we voting on both or are we voting just on the format and then we'll come back with the content?
I don't think we'll be able to come back just because the ICER is due.
I mean,
Will be.
we're addressing the college council charge next on the agenda. And for the other councils, we are relying on their process to approve that in alignment with the template. What we're saying here is that that's the content we want to have contained in the handbook.
I'm comfortable if we do the voting for that and let the councils,
Do
do their own content
Yes.
and vote on it.
So we can state the motion in that way.
So you
Yes.
got it?
You got it.
Okay.
All right,
Really quick,
yeah,
I have
yes.
a question. So just for purpose of minutes, we're moving forward to approve the format and content of the governance package.
He's gonna.
I'm gonna say
All right, go ahead, Masa.
So I move to approve the format and also the decision to accept the content from the council, each council that they provide to us. Is that correct? Is that all right?
So we have a motion to accept the content or the format as it is presented. And then for us to accept the content using the process that each of the councils is to come up with their content, that we will accept that when it is presented.
Yes.
So we're approving both. Do I have a
Thank you,
second?
Masa.
Cesar second.
So Cedar Gumapa seconds. Are there any objections? All right, then let us vote. All in favor, say aye. Any abstentions? Any noes? All right, the motion carries. Thank you, Micah.
Got it.
All right. Moving on to item number 4 on the agenda, says colleges hiring process documents. Again, those documents were sent out to folks prior to this and should have gone through the shared governance process. And this is also the second read for the hiring document. The hiring process document.
I do have a question on the.
Oh, so we have to wait.
Well, it depends on my chairs.
Is there any questions about
Yes,
this?
sir. So page number 5 of the document pertaining to faculty hiring at the bottom. I believe that this is guided by our AP, district AP. And the bottom part, all faculty members of the committee are appointed by the Senate. It is consistent with the title. All matters pertaining to the optional members will be determined by consensus by the hiring committee chair and the faculty. So does that mean what president has verbally told us that how the process is?
I don't understand what the optional is there.
Optional is the at the top, the committee may include, or the last bullet, the darkened bullet, which says classified, member, spa member. I thought those were highly encouraged and recommended.
But they're not on the APs. They're
Yeah,
not
but the
included.
bottom part seems to read, if faculty and a hiring chair decides not to include them, we don't have to. That's how it can be read. So that could be a problem. Ish. Yes.
I'm sorry, can you restate that, Masa?
Sure. So on a page 5 of the document, there are required part, which is, following the AP.
The first 5 bullets.
Yes, and the last bullet says these are optional members.
Mhm.
And the guidance from the president was to, to include or to try to inclusive of a SPA and classified members, which we have been doing the faculty hiring. But the line below says, if hiring committee chair and faculty members decides to not include them, because this is all matters pertaining to optional members, so they have a choice not to include them. It doesn't sound like the
So
process.
this does come straight from the APs. I can
Yeah,
speak to this
which is
simply
brilliant.
because I am the one who edited all of this.
Yeah.
This comes straight from the APs, and so while our president has strongly encouraged us to include a SPA member and a classified staff member
And
when it is and/or where and when it is appropriate, this is literally governed by the APs, and this stuff here is taken straight
Yeah,
from the
that was
administrative
my
policy.
question.
So-
What do we follow?
It depends.
De jure or de facto?
Depends.
That's a philosophical question,
So maybe,
So Ricky's seen this,
Okay,
and like, I will say that, like, Ricky's seen this.
I'm wondering, Masa, after that line, that little section there. Do we need to maybe cite the AP? There, do you know where I'm going?
My-
Just cite the
yeah.
AP.
just to be clear too, for the record, my intent is not to exclude, but somebody can
No,
read
but
this
to
to
be
say.
What you're saying is
They might be put me in the position to say,
we have a new manager arrives tomorrow and they use this and not, haven't had those conversations in advance. It could be placed.
Or,
Yeah.
or a group of department faculty could say, hey, hiring chair, read this, that's the policy.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for them, so that could happen. So I was concerned.
which is the AP, so there is a reason, that is what we have to follow by, that's what the APs are there for, whether something is highly encouraged or not, that's the culture that we create as an institution, so yes, well, it would be good that we all practice that, but we cannot mandate something that is not in the AP, that would be contrarian to following process. If we want to change that, then we have to actually change the AP. But other than that, it does create a lot of confusion, so I appreciate that you're bringing it up, Masa, because it will leave it up to the hiring committee. For example, when faculty are asked in some other positions that are not faculty, the academic center will determine whether that's a good fit or not, and whether we need to appoint a faculty member or not, because it's not always, in the best interest. It might be something that really, so there are conversations to have. I agree with that in terms of everyone included, but the AP is the AP. That's actually what we are supposed to be following.
Yes, we were told by Ricky when we came up with our first concerns about the original document that we have to follow the APs. So when I edited all of this, it was all done with the BPs and APs front and center so that I wouldn't go outside of those. So.
Oh, so what is AP?
Oh,
Board policy, administrative policy.
okay, procedure.
Yeah, that is a
Procedure.
question. Thank you. Yeah, because
Admin procedure.
admin
Yes.
procedure, thank you.
Administrative, yes,
Yeah.
procedure or board policy, yes.
They're the law we live under.
They are the law, so if we want to change that, we would have to go through the law.
Sean has.
Would we be able to put a reference to that in this?
That's what I was.
And that's what it is, and actually,
At the very top of
So
the
who do you
document,
want something?
it's actually, so on page 2.
and I will propose that because this composition of the hiring committee that is right there, this is coming out straight from the AP, so we can just, in parentheses, put AP.
I think we should.
Because this is the wording actually. of
But I
the
think the
AP.
one here's Susan on page 2, it's kind of far away.
No,
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
this actually, this is a weird
It's
document
4,200.
because it
Yes.
is. This is a very strange document now that I'm looking at it again. Because this document, sorry. It's a very strange document because it is identifying a couple of things a couple of different times. So from page. It's not a page number. So if you look. Wait, this is at page 2.
Page 2.
If you look at page 2 and then go. A page back. So sorry, it comes right after the conclusion of the minutes from last time. The overview of the college's hiring process is a edit of something that Ricky had sent me or sent us.
Yeah.
And this is a distillation of what appears on page 2 and 3. And then starting on page 4 is just an edit I did to an original document back in September, that we were given back in September, and it pertains solely to faculty. So this is I don't think I could vote to approve this as it is because this document is mixed up of a bunch of things. So I would want
double
clarity on it.
checking on it because we did do this in a collaborative approach, so I'm like checking to see if it's the same.
Yeah, so this is the installation of this. Yeah. And yes, then.
Yeah, you know what, because there was a few documents of this going around. I think we might actually not have the the right version, but I don't know, that's why we would have to talk to Ricky.
Yeah, so there are two separate documents. There's a general overview of the college's hiring process, which applies to all hiring on the campus, regardless of whether it's faculty, classified, spa
And
managers.
that's that one page, this page.
And that is the overview of the college's hiring process that appears right at the beginning of the minutes. This is the edited version that I had sent Maria Jose, who I believe she had written. Now, if you go to page 2, that is the version that I edited.
And we edit.
And that is combined with a separate document about an overview of faculty hiring.
Yes.
And so part of the overview of faculty hiring actually isn't included in here, and it's just mashed up with a pre-edited version of the general overview. So
Yeah, because I'm looking at the summary and the latest ones that we worked on, and I'm not sure where. I don't know. I'm also a little
And
confused.
it does say on page 5 that it's formation of the faculty hiring committees.
Yes,
So that, and that's what,
and so that's super important, Masa, that,
yes.
that
Oh,
means
page five,
this
right
AP
there,
is
there is
for,
I can see it.
this AP is
Right.
only for
Only
hiring faculty.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
yes,
This is not for hiring in general.
Yeah, I got that part, yeah,
But I know your question was to that,
yeah.
yes. Which is, no, the AP says one thing, so technically that's what you need to follow.
The other question was, I couldn't find the AP on all the other hirings. I don't.
I couldn't, only found the faculty one.
Correct.
Well, you'll find your hiring process guide.
No,
There's a link. Those are in there.
yeah, in the original, in the edited version of the overview of college's hiring processes,
Yeah,
I put in
yeah.
all the links that we have in terms of district policies.
Why is yours?
We're not. Go to.
So how many documents are there?
There's just 2. There's the overview and then there's the
Oh, this is the summary one.
right.
This is the one,
Hiring screening process for faculty.
that's what we work on, I think.
I work on both of them,
And then there is the long version.
yes, the long version actually. That's not, some of the stuff in that long version actually isn't fine.
Because we did create it, and that was a conversation we had, to be transparent, that we actually have our own faculty hiring process into one document, so we worked on that one. To make sure that we added the hiring prioritization process and all that, because for faculty it's a little bit different. So we actually have our own document that we're gonna keep working on. And we're gonna keep it in-house, but we thought that this document was more general in terms of budgets, you know, hiring with GFU money or sub money, and how that works as a process at a campus college, whether it's faculty, classified professionals, or spa or administration. It wasn't really meant to be, so, because we have our own for faculty, so now I'm a little confused.
So I don't think that we need to confuse them. So to Masa, to your point or to your question, I think the short answer is actually answered by what Tuna and Maria said that if you were to be on a committee and your faculty actually said, do not want these other optional, in theory,
I can say no,
You can-
by consensus.
right?
Well, I don't-
So someone's not, and my hope is that there would be a discussion about why we wouldn't want to have spa or classified on there, right?
Yeah,
But it wouldn't necessarily say that that is the rules, right? Now, we know that there have been times where we've not been able to get a spa rep or a classified rep because it's, and then we've said, hey, as long as you agree and you're saying, hey, you're good with us moving forward,
Yeah.
we move forward and we just let that go.
yeah.
So I think that's really the process,
Okay.
right? Because we know that the spirit of the law in terms of the AP says, this is all you have to have. You don't have to have those other ones. But our culture has been that we
Yeah.
do have them. So I think we're
And
good.
that's how we presented, that is a culture that we're changing, and we're trying to be more inclusive, and, you know, we all interact with each other, so at the end of the day, we do impact each other's work wherever we are. But that is a conversation for the committee to have.
If like consensus, manager can say no, because that's on practice.
Correct.
Right.
Then
Or
that,
get a better understanding of why.
but then that manager's manager, you say something.
Let's not go there.
And I think that's part of the
That's
conversation
my
we're having,
concern.
you know, with, because we are hiring right now a lot of people, yay, which is amazing. But I think this is important to clarify also, even how many people will move forward to the second interview. You know, these are conversations that maybe we need to start having more intentionally and proactively, so we're all understanding what the culture that we want to create here at City is, and really how it works, because, you know, when we're in the process of hiring, that committee charge is to do their work and then move forward a certain amount of people, so it doesn't become then another set of interviews, because that committee is supposed to be doing the work and then just sending forward the best candidates. So to have a conversation with, right? So I think those are important conversations to have, Masa, but yeah, I mean, we're hiring a lot of people, so we need to be clear.
That's why I was concerned.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you.
but does that help or no?
Yeah.
I'd like to actually make a motion to table this until our next meeting, because it starts on page 2 is a mashup of a pre-edited and a post-edited document. So the post-edited document literally says the hiring and screening committee process for applicants applying to work at San Diego City College. The post-edited document actually identifies instructional and non-instructional faculty. And the pre-edit document doesn't actually identify that what comes is about faculty only, but starting on page 2. So from 2 on, it's literally a mashup of 2 different documents, one that's not yet edited and missing parts of the edited document, which would add clarity to it. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but I would like to, if I can make a motion to table this till the next one and we can get the right documents out.
Let's do that.
That's what I'd like to make a motion to do.
So there is a motion on the table.
This is Sean, I'd like to second that.
Thanks. We have a motion and a second. Any objections? Right, we will table this action item until the next college council, which is June 27th.
27th, and I will send you the 2 documents that are actually separate and edited, and then you can check with Ricky and make sure everything's good. Okay. In fact, I will do that for you now.
All right, then the next item on our agenda is college council charge template, and this is an action item. Susan Byrne.
So, hard copies coming around. And will also be up on the screen. We discussed this 2 weeks ago. This is in alignment with the format that all of the other groups are using for the governance handbook. We just had not finished working on the text of this for college council yet. So I think Maria Jose, Suna, Sean, and I all worked on this, reviewed it, suggested some changes. And we're now bringing back the edited version, updated version, whatever you want to call it, for final approval. We basically just try to keep the language straightforward and simplify it where possible, and really focus on I don't have this. College council's role or position as shown in this document or diagram, sorry. that it's receiving input from all of the other councils within the college. So the charge for this group was kind of edited down to really focus on this group's role in considering that input.
Are there any questions for Susan?
So on that last part we were talking about, Susan, so under the standing councils that report, it should be everything around the circle. Is that correct?
Yes. And. Okay, so it probably should also include constituency groups. That's not a council, but that's a good catch. I don't think.
Yes.
And there's an awkward page break in there too.
Yeah,
So
there is, no.
sorry about that.
No, that's what I was trying to count, how many. I think we might have got it. We probably, yeah, other committees and work, I guess that's really where.
Yeah, it needs, yeah, constituency groups should be listed in there. That's correct. So I would,
But this is an interesting, because I'm thinking, I mean, do constituency groups report to college council? I know the other councils do, but I'm not necessarily, at least academic senate, I don't believe reports to college council. We work with college council, but we don't report necessarily.
Well, this is where ultimate decisions, I mean, you make your own decisions here, but if we had to go through the whole college, this is where they would come to, right? For those decisions.
That's true. No, that's why.
I'm just asking that,
Yeah.
same thing with the classified.
Yeah, same with classifiers, so I just want of clarifications.
It depends upon how you take the word report to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were
Hierarchical board.
informing,
Yes.
both senates actually inform college council, but there is no supervisory or oversight from college
So
council of the senate.
that's say. Make recommendations to college council.
No, because that would suggest that college council actually has the
Okay.
ability to reject those recommendations.
We technically can
Yeah, college council could.
Can.
Could they
collective.
actually reject a
Recommendation.
Like a plan.
not a recommendation, no. I don't think college council, like, okay, we passed a resolution.
Yeah.
College council doesn't have the capacity or the oversight to say, no, you can't do that.
But that's not a recommendation, though. That's a legal request from your entity to this entity, which is different from recommending some contents here. We can say, hi, it's not gonna work. Senate might collectively recommend some wording, but if everybody else says, I don't know, we could. So it's kind of very contextual and nuanced.
I'll use like the equity plan to recommend, like, this is
Yeah.
what we recommend, we go back and hear college council and then make some revisions, et cetera, right?
I think that's enough more, right?
Right.
Reports to,
Yeah.
but not report to, in the sense of the structure.
Yeah.
But they inform,
Gives reports.
they give reports to, or informs.
Because that'll also be a domino effect of all the other councils. Because
Could it
they're
just be
exactly the
informs?
same.
Well, it depends, because the other councils are under,
Actually,
yeah,
are sort of under college council.
we are autonomous as an academic senate.
Well, but there's certain ones like ideas and stuff, so I'm just saying that however it's written for college council, we should probably watch that language for the other councils.
Can we just have another header saying representative constituency groups or something?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to come under
Yeah.
that header.
Yeah, I think that would be.
And I think that's why it wasn't added to begin with, because I think probably you thought about that. because
You can say constituency groups represented or something. And
Yeah, college council and reporting groups, yeah. Which is the title in here, so that's an interesting. Just point of clarification, it just, but we know that this works a little bit different,
They
Mhm.
do.
just because it is a constituent group. It's not a council and it's different. This little guy over here works a little bit different than all the other councils. But maybe we can put a clarification in the charge and the you know, when we talk about constituency groups, and maybe there is somewhere in there that we can do that.
Can you just
Like
say
the
that?
wording that Susan just said, standing councils that report. Yeah,
we just saw on our header says constituency groups.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, because they each have their understanding.
yeah,
who are being represented as opposed to who are reporting in
exactly.
the reporting.
Yeah.
system.
I like that fix.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yes,
I don't want Ricky to come back and say everything was tabled on while I was chair.
On your watch.
table.
Then
No,
I'll tell John. Thanks, Chris.
yeah, it's just this word, yeah, that wouldn't work for the.
So we're good with the change, the constituency group
So,
will.
so what would be, so there is a standing committee council that report to college council, and then you have all the councils
Yeah, and
And
then
then
you
what
would
would
have
we-
constituency groups
separate. Like as
Yeah.
another,
represented on college council. and
Which in a
then-
sense,
yeah,
under
and
voting
extended
membership,
membership, and-
you have it there.
Yeah, it's reflected in the voting membership,
yeah.
but it's not called out
yeah.
to have that sort of
Perfect.
communications channel,
And
so.
it's an educational piece, because then when people read it, it's like, oh,
Mhm.
I see how that works.
They vote and they're on it.
Yeah, and even under the
And
standing
we're
councils that
represented.
report to the college council, the senates aren't listed there,
Mhm.
right? So.
Perfect. Teamwork.
Right, so it seems like we figured that out. So seeing that we've talked it through, this is an action item. So
Somebody's got
do
it.
I have a motion to?
Move to approve with suggested and discussed edits.
All right, we have a motion by Masa to accept with the edits that were proposed. Is there a second?
I second, Maria
All
Jose.
right. A second there by Miguel Jose. Any objections? Any abstentions? All right, can everybody in favor, please say aye. Right, the motion carries. Vote is unanimous and this action item is approved.
Good job. And again,
So Caesar, I will send this to you.
Sitting there for a second. Watch me have a panic attack over here. All right, so action item number 6 is our Golden Apple Award, and it has my name next to it, but I actually invited Lori Oldham, who is the supervisor over in Student Affairs, to come and provide the overview because as I mentioned before, this is a student-led process. And she has been heavily involved since, as far as I can remember, the inception of this in how it was carried on. So Lori, would you be able to provide folks with just an overview of the process and where we are?
Yes, hi, and thank you for having me. Thank you for your invitation. So, the Golden Awards. It used to be only for faculty as an apple, faculty as an applicant. Right, we also added pillar for administrators, and we also added the star for classified professionals, so that everybody could have an opportunity in each constituency group to get nominated. Now, I will say the Golden Awards, because it's only students can vote, it is the most coveted award that any person here at City College could earn, because you've gotten the students' vote, which is extremely important. So we don't get to vote for our peers. We don't get to vote for our supervisor. It's only by students. So it is only by that we deem who a winner is for all 3 of the categories. So it starts in early March. I will say, first of all, we had a change in terms of after the graduation last year. Ricky wanted to have it the Golden Awards to be presented in the fall convocation. So we knew that going into spring, and we always typically start the process early March. And I work with business services to get the names, the current and updated names list for each category. So faculty, including contract and adjunct. And then we also have our classified professionals and then our administrators. So with those freshened names, I work with Caesar's team to get those names uploaded to a voting system survey by Victor Chin. And then also with to do the marketing, so we get the marketing out, the Golden Awards. We also send I work with the Student Services Office, Victor DeVore, down at the district office to email our only city college students to say, hey, I send the verbiage, but I'd like it to read, send them the links to the voting. And then they email our students twice during that process. So it typically is over a week where the voting happens. We selected the date, and times, like starting at midnight on a Sunday night or 12:01 a.m. and all the way through that following Friday till midnight. That's the open period, that 1 week for students. I will say that during the pandemic and even currently, there's been a lot of student apathy. They're just not very engaged, as you all would probably have known that already, but so we didn't get a lot of votes this time, and in some categories we didn't get a vote. However, Dean Sanchez has sent out information to our graduates that graduated this year, and sent in a little area that said, hey, please don't forget to vote, or your student vote is very important, and to rally students to go back in, including the link, go back in and vote for these 3 different categories. Letting them know that this, your vote matters, your voice matters. We want to see the person that you believe deserves the award, these areas to be awarded those. So that's basically the process. We have extended it to Thursday, and I am happy to report that I can see that it's populated a lot more since he sent the first notification, which was the day of graduation before we started our ceremony. He sent another notification today, so I'm satisfied. I'm very confident we'll have our winners. When we close out on Thursday, I probably won't get them till Monday morning. So.
How many years have we been?
Oh, for a long time. It used to be only Golden Apple, just for faculty. And then we talked about, our having a more inclusive environment to include other constituencies, and we've been doing that since 2013. To include, the different constituencies. But Golden Apple, I'm going to say, is probably around for at least 10 years before I started to, and I've been a student for 10 years. Prior to that, I was in destruction. And a good year here.
I do have a couple of questions.
Yes.
For example, and I don't know how it works for others, but for faculty, so you get the list, you said from the updated list from the district,
No, from business service.
from business services, but then that whole list of hundreds and hundreds of faculty goes out.
Just for city faculty.
So students get a list of 400 names, and then they have to choose one. Okay.
But adjuncts and contracts are all the
Yeah.
same. There used to be
That's
that it was just contracts, and then the students wanted to make sure to include adjuncts. And so then that moved and changed, and that's how that list got generated with a lot of the same thing. SPA and are now part of the administrator ones.
So the whole list goes out.
Jane Purnell,
So that was my question, so we don't know how it goes internally, so it's.
So there's a link to the actual Golden Awards page, and it has instructor, and it has classified, maybe not this order, but it has the instructor, classified professional, and then administrator. You click on that, and there's a drop down arrow.
And I believe they're now in alphabetical order.
They are in alphabetical order.
okay. That makes, sorry.
Oh,
Well,
well.
never gonna get answered. Last one.
We don't know.
That's why I think we're joking that the name Z is always the last one. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Scroll through mine.
Students are pretty intentional. It's just easier for them to find, so whatever we can remove in terms of barrier, but everything is in alphabetical order for them.
That's good. Yes.
Yeah.
Throwing names out.
Other questions about the process?
Comments.
Yeah.
One, I was wondering if there was any possibility of actually having one for a part-time person and for a full-time person. Something to consider, because so often part-time instructors don't have as much time to be on campus, and so that actually harms them in terms of who knows them and that kind of stuff. So I wanted to toss that suggestion out there. And I wanted to share what faculty share with me about it, that the award feels rather meaningless to them because so many of the past winners are people that don't actually see students and or see any number of students. So they were asking me what the nomination process is, and I was like, I have no idea, and heard many stories. Multiple people coming up and saying that they thought the award was just sort of meaningless. And so I appreciate you coming here and sharing how you did that, but I also wanted to give the feedback, what I hear from faculty about the award, because it's not clear what the process is, and because someone recently won the award who literally isn't on campus and hasn't been on campus for a few years. So it makes it suspect. When that.
And maybe
person
I
wins.
was
I don't think anybody was on campus for the past few years because of. COVID.
No, I mean, Word wasn't working, is actually not currently working for our district or our campuses at the state level right now, so that was concerning to people.
Oh,
But when he won, he was here on campus. When he won, and I will only say that because it was the first year I was
He was
here.
emailed.
No, I don't think he
he's
won.
not on, he wasn't.
I just think
But when
it's
he
just,
first.
so I wanted to hear from Diego, since he's about the process.
Convention center.
Yeah, the
Thank you.
convention
Yeah.
center.
Well, but it
He was
just,
here then.
But he was.
we appreciate
I appreciate the clarity, I wanted to share with faculty.
because it came to the Senate, so we wanna bring it forward and explain maybe we'll have you. Yeah, no, you don't mind.
So, and I think it's a great thing to have Diego here,
Yes,
because
yeah.
again, the reminder is that we want. It came from students or as a way for them to recognize their faculty, and so I would,
And I
if
think
this is what the students want, then
Yes.
that's what they want to have,
Yes.
that it should come, so.
So how do you feel about the process?
Or do the
Any-
students say?
So I haven't heard about the process, but I did see the vote and just the format of it was interesting. So you see the names, and when I was voting, I wasn't able to connect with the different names because I don't know the people's names. I know their faces. And then it was also interesting what point you brought up, Suna, that some areas of campus don't physically interact with students, so it was kind of interesting that they would get an award as well. I mean, it's equality that's important, but if they don't, that's actually equality, equity. That's important, then that should also be a factor.
I have a separate question. You were mentioned that Ricky wants these at convocation. So if I'm a student in the spring semester, I vote. Then potentially I could be gone and I never got to see this person. Do the students get to know who gets that award?
Yes, so we send out everything, when the awards are picked, where there is something that comes from Caesar's office on the campus, all the awardees are notified.
I'll leave and graduate and,
Probably Sunday.
but they'll get notified.
The students, yeah, I mean, they'll see it on our website, they'll see it on our Instagram.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
And also, and listen, and this is happening to us too. I mean, I gotta be honest, even with our own elections, and I'm sure, maybe because, but the engagement, is maybe, we wish there was more because, we wish it was more of a democratic collegial process. I'm not sure, with computers and all that, what is it, the term called that people are burned out from using it, but that's the question, how can we actually get more students engaged if this is truly, a student-led effort, like how can we make them excited about this process? Because my concern is like, also the amount of people that vote counts, right? I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of students, so same with us. Do we have 5 people voting or do we have 1,000 people voting? Because that also makes a big difference, and I'm not calling it just in this process, I'm talking about all voting processes that we have on campus, right? It's not we cannot say what's voted when only 2 people voted versus 20 people not voting purposely. So it's kind of an interesting concept that I hope we can engage, and I don't know the answer to that, how, it's more like the moral of all, how can we get more people excited to want to participate, including us employees and students in this type of processes, because it's a gift, right? It's a recognition, so the more participation, the more value, I
So
guess.
I'll let Lori respond, and
Yeah.
I'll make my last comment.
Well, yeah, first of all, you can promote it on your social media, you can promote it on your discussion boards, on your online classes. You can promote it, on your in-class, because there's definitely signage that Caesar's team puts out in the college, on the. We have digital signage, we have web signage, we have all the social media venues that they push it out on. And then our office picks it up, our student affairs office, the ASG office picks it up, and they start funneling it out, to get it to many people as possible. Do we have a magic, time to turn on? You know, I wish we did, because it's really hard. I mean, even to get, your own constituents to vote for things,
Yeah,
unless they're right there and they're they're made to. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that, what we decided also to add to that is that somebody cannot win more than one time in 10 years, to give another person an opportunity. So every 10 years, if your name comes up 10 years later, well, you can win a second time. But other than that, because there was a time where there was a faculty member that was asking, she had a computer class and she had her computer class vote for her class in her class time.
oh,
So that took care of that.
And that would be my comment, Maria said that, one of the things that I'm cautious about in terms of, and this is why I'm saying it's a student process, is because what I wouldn't want, and I've haven't been in this room with Lori before, and sat there and heard from both sides, heard from students who felt pressured to vote a certain way, heard from faculty who were feeling like, oh, I got left out, or they're hearing what Suna's hearing, like, well, this person's basically rallying their classes to a thing. And I think it takes away from the spirit of it, that really this is about students recognizing their faculty, their classified professionals, and their administrators for who has had an impact on them during this year. And I wouldn't want this to turn into a competition of folks pressuring students to vote for me in this way. And that's what I think we were, at least Lori and I were getting at certain points where folks were feeling like it was becoming a camp, like people were campaigning to win this. And I'm like, are you really a winner of the award if you're asking people to vote for it? Like, shouldn't people just see you and feel like, oh, I know the work you do and I want to honor you for the work you do, versus you rally the most number of people to vote for you. So that's my only reverted question, but it sounds like we have a plan moving forward to work with ASG and maybe considering expanding it to 2 golden apples for a part-time or an adjunct and a full-time contracted person.
What I did hear from Diego was it'd be nice to identify who people are on this campus. So see if there, maybe that's a big thing we can work on about picture day. We've been looking at doing this for the entire campus, getting photos for people, right? I mean, then you could go research them and look them up and say, well, I've seen that person, I don't know who they are, right? I mean, I think that's what I was hearing from you.
Yes, that's exactly what it was, because you may see a person and be like, oh, that person is doing a good job, but you don't go to that person to ask for their name. Sometimes you may,
Yeah.
but other times you just see them from a distance.
I love that. I didn't have to choose.
Like it.
That was not in you, that's what you need to do.
No, and I think that's a suggestion to have adjunct and contract, because there is a lot of folks, both.
And that's a
right?
long list, and that's a long list.
It's a lot.
Well, thank you so much.
And when we do this, I know it's advertised on social media and through ASG and your office. If we could get an email that goes out to faculty, I think some of the concern of faculty that I hear is no email goes out to faculty letting them know the voting is happening. And so it felt like.
Yeah, and that's the intentionality, right? Because they don't want a faculty member to feel like, now I'm gonna go and tell my class to vote for me. But Maria who said doesn't,
Yeah.
you get all the votes, she doesn't, because your
That is
class. Like, and that's what I said, there were people that. And again, we don't want to split the thing, but there were folks that were literally campaigning in their classes and telling students, everybody take out your laptops. This is the voting, feel free to vote for me, and that's how this person was. voting.
The students are the ones who came and said, hey, we don't have, we're not snitches, but look, this is what happened, we don't feel good about it.
Perhaps one of the things we could do is put it on canvas banner, like we do for other events.
Yeah, for the
That's
campus.
what you're doing.
Yeah,
That would be-
we could probably do that.
I think if there's just, the more transparency you can have in
Okay.
the process, the more faculty will feel like it's less. That is more representative,
Makes sense.
that's all.
I mean, I am hoping that faculty won't purposely do that. Honestly, that's a little
Weird.
in my eyes. But, you know, hopefully people are not really like giving points to be voted on something. So hopefully all of us are ethical and understand that this is led by students. Students will choose who they want, and none of us should be selling ourselves like we're the last piece of meat on the.
In let's just stay.
Right?
In let's stay.
I think there was one that someone said that if they showed that they voted, they got extra credit.
Extra credit.
That's illegal.
But that's illegal.
That's illegal.
Well, not just illegal, but unethical, so let's hope we don't have that.
I don't know if we can take it and, you know, get a lawsuit on it, but it's definitely unethical and immoral. But-
Yes, thank you. Yes,
Absolutely.
so, thank you.
Well, thank you, Lori, for being here. and- Thank you, thank you. So moving on, we're gonna get to the end of the agenda very, very soon. We've got two agenda items, or one agenda item left, agenda planning, our standing item. So June 27th is our next meeting, and then the meeting after that would be July 25th. Those are our next 2 meetings, just so that folks know.
I will be sending a rep on the 27th because I'll be on vacation.
I will too, be sending.
And I don't know what would happen to my life at that moment, but.
I will be there with a fresh haircut color.
Love it.
I do want to be one more to go.
Oh, Tilly wants to keep us here longer.
Oh, one.
Yeah,
I
I'm just-
just wanted to bring this, I will take it to the manager.
Yes.
Next week when you're in charge of that one is. But it's come to my attention, or maybe others, like Martha, thank you, here is our admin rep. And since I've been here, all the admin reps have come from instructional side. So it came to my attention that maybe there might be other people in the managers that would like to do that. So I'm just gonna make a suggestion that we, at the managers meeting, have them vote for their rep time, because I will just be honest and say I've been doing it with the instruction, and I have not asked other people in your meetings as well. So I just think that would be an open, I'm just thinking, of that, and that just came to my attention. So I just want to share.
Good idea.
All right,
Good idea, yeah.
and we are adjourned at 3:31.